Hi everyone, welcome back to the Wealth Raah. I'm really excited to have you here today because we're diving into a topic that's not just relevant, it's vital. It's something that shapes our society, affects the opportunities we get, and even impacts the future of our country. Yes, we're talking about the rich poor gap in India. Now, I know this sounds like a heavy topic, and honestly, it is. But it's also one that we can't afford to ignore. Why? Because understanding it is the first step toward addressing it. And trust me, by the end of this video, you'll not only understand the issue better, but you'll also learn what we can do collectively to reduce this gap. What is the rich poor gap? Let's start with the basics. What exactly do we mean by the rich poor gap? At its core, it's the difference in wealth and income between the richest and the poorest people in a society. And in India, this gap is enormous. Here's a statistic to put things into perspective. According to the World Bank, the richest 1% of Indians own about 40% of the country's total wealth. Meanwhile, the bottom 50%, half of the population, owns just 3%. Let that sink in for a moment. It means that the wealthiest 1% are 180 times richer than the bottom half. Think about that disparity. It's not just a gap, it's a chasm. And it's growing wider with each passing year. Why does this gap exist? Now let's unpack the reasons behind this inequality. It's not just one thing, it's a complex web of factors. 1. Economic growth. That isn't inclusive. India has witnessed incredible economic growth over the past few decades. We've become one of the fastest growing economies in the world. But here's the catch. The benefits of this growth haven't been shared equally. While the rich are reaping the rewards, many poor families are still struggling to make ends meet. It's like hosting a grand feast, but only letting a select few enjoy the meal, leaving everyone else to watch from the sidelines. 2. Inequality in education. Education is often called the great equalizer, but in India it's anything but equal. Wealthy families have access to the best schools, private tutors, and top-tier universities. This gives their children a massive advantage when it comes to securing high-paying jobs. On the other hand, many underprivileged children don't even have access to basic education. Some are forced to drop out of school to support their families, perpetuating a cycle of poverty. Without quality education, their chances of breaking free from this cycle are slim. 3. The caste system. Even in today's modern world, the caste system continues to play a role in perpetuating inequality. People from upper castes often have better opportunities and access to resources. In contrast, those from lower castes face discrimination and marginalization, limiting their ability to succeed. 4. Corruption. Corruption is another major factor that widens the gap. It's often the rich and powerful who benefit from corrupt practices, whether it's through tax evasion, land grabs, or preferential treatment. Meanwhile, the poor bear the brunt, losing out on essential services and opportunities. Globalization and automation. While globalization and technological advancements have boosted economic growth, they've also disproportionately benefited the rich. Automation has replaced many low-skilled jobs, leaving poor workers without employment opportunities. What are the consequences? Now that we understand the causes, let's talk about why this rich-poor gap is such a big deal. Its impact is felt across every aspect of society. 1. Poverty and basic needs. First and foremost, the gap leaves millions of people in poverty. Imagine not being able to afford enough food for your family or struggling to pay for basic healthcare. For many, this isn't just a possibility, it's their daily reality. Malnutrition, disease, and lack of shelter are direct consequences of poverty. It's heartbreaking to think that in a country as vibrant and diverse as India, so many people are merely trying to survive. 2. Social unrest. When people feel excluded or marginalized, frustration builds up. This can lead to protests, strikes, and in some cases, even violence. Social unrest destabilizes communities, creating a vicious cycle that deepens divisions and stalls progress, slower economic growth. Here's the irony. The rich-poor gap hurts everyone, even the wealthy. When the majority of people have less money to spend, overall demand in the economy decreases. Slower economic growth ultimately impacts businesses and investments, creating a ripple effect. What can we do about it? The good news is that this gap isn't inevitable. There are concrete steps we can take to address it. 1. Promote inclusive growth. The government needs to focus on policies that benefit everyone, not just the wealthy. This includes investing in infrastructure in rural areas, providing affordable healthcare, and ensuring fair wages for workers. 2. Invest in education. Quality education should be accessible to all, regardless of a person's background. Scholarships, free schooling, and vocational training programs can help bridge the skills gap and empower individuals to lift themselves out of poverty. 3. Fight corruption. Corruption undermines trust and fairness. By enforcing stricter laws and increasing transparency, we can ensure that resources reach those who need them most. 4. Create job opportunities. Job creation, especially in rural areas, is crucial. The government and private sector need to work together to provide employment opportunities that pay fair wages and offer job security. Encourage wealth redistribution. Progressive taxation and social welfare programs can help redistribute wealth more fairly. By ensuring that the rich contribute their fair share, we can fund programs that support the underprivileged. The role of each of us. While systemic changes are essential, individual actions matter too. Here's what you can do. Support local businesses. Buying from small businesses helps create jobs and supports the local economy. Volunteer or donate. Whether it's time or money, contributing to organizations that help the underprivileged makes a difference. Raise awareness. Talk about these issues with your friends and family. The more people understand the problem, the more likely we are to find solutions. A vision for the future. Imagine an India where everyone has access to quality education, healthcare, and opportunities. An India where wealth is distributed more fairly and no one has to go to bed hungry. It's not just a dream, it's a goal we can work toward. Final thoughts. The rich poor gap in India is a serious issue, but it's not insurmountable. By understanding the problem and taking action, we can build a more equitable and prosperous society. Thank you for watching. If you found this video insightful, please give it a thumbs up and share it with your friends. Let's spread awareness and be the change we wish to see. Drop your thoughts in the comments below. I'd love to hear your perspective. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more discussions on topics that matter. Together, we can make a difference. Until next time, stay informed, stay inspired, and let's create a brighter future for everyone.